This is a simple tutorial on how to make a simple object for high fidelity from the ground up using Blender and open source image editing programs such as GIMP or Krita. We will be making a simple block object, unwrapping it, texturing it with a diffuse, normal, and shine map, setting up the object's materials, then importing it into high fidelity. Then I'll show you how to use the high fidelity marketplace to host the content for personal use or to sell the item, how to manipulate it in World, and how to export a JSON file so that it's a valid marketplace listing. If you are unfamiliar with the Blender 2.8 UI, some good prerequisite material would be in the video that I'm going to link in the comments. First, we are going to need to download Mythal's Blender Hi-Fi add-on, which is also sometimes called the Blender Metaverse Toolkit. I will also be putting that in the description. When you go to the GitHub page, you will need to go to the Releases button, which has a little shopping tag looking thing next to it. It says 34 releases at this time. Then you will want to go to the latest one, which will be at the top, and it'll have a zip. So the latest one at this time of recording is Hi-Fi Tools 1.5.5.zip. We'll save the file. And then when we open Blender, we will go to Edit, Preferences. So we get this Add-ons menu. If it's set to anything else, you might need to go to Add-ons on the left side. And then there's a button on the top that says Install. Then go to the directory where it was saved, probably Downloads. So I'm actually going to have to find my Downloads directory. And then go to Hi-Fi Tools. Now, once this is installed, you might need to search Metaverse to make sure that it is checked, because if it's not checked, it won't actually show up in Blender. So it says, this is version 1.5.5, which is the version I downloaded. We don't need to change any of these settings. Then we want to make sure that we have this button here with the tools on the side. We want to make sure that we actually have MVT Hi-Fi Tools on the right side. It'll say things like Hi-Fi Avatar Tools, Hi-Fi Armature Custom Avatar, MMD Avatar. We don't need any of this, but it's good to make sure that it's there to make sure the plugin was successfully installed. You will also see that when you go to File, Export, you will also have extra options on the bottom to export as a Hi-Fi FBX, Hi-Fi Avatar, and Hi-Fi Metaverse Scene JSON. The only thing you need to worry about at this point is making sure that Hi-Fi FBX is there. The rest should be there as well, but Hi-Fi FBX is all that we'll be using. First, we'll be working with the starting cube, and so we don't need any modeling experience. We need to turn on screencast keys. There we go. So you can use the middle mouse button in order to pan around this cube. Then we will add a bevel. There's two different ways to add a bevel. You can hit Control B to add a bevel. As you move your cursor away or towards the center of the cube, you will have more or less of a bevel. That much should be enough. This just adds a little more geometry and makes it look a little smoother. I learned Blender with using lots of hotkeys, so many hotkeys will probably be used in this tutorial in the future. But many of these things can also be used using these buttons on the left side toolbar. There's a bevel button over here, for example, that when the entire object is selected, you can use this button to create a bevel. And since I already added one, it's extremely buggy to do it twice. So don't do it twice. We will also want to set the shading to smooth. Now, in order to do that, we want to go to Face, Shade Smooth. This just helps our geometry look less pointy. So now it has this smooth look when we tab into object mode. In the next video, we'll go over UV unwrapping and also over the different material types and how to use these different material types with high fidelity.